The International Monetary Fund has commended the Nigerian government for removing the fuel subsidy, but noted that efforts must be made to protect poor citizens from the high cost of living crisis. Specifically, the Washington-based lender said the federal government must complement the fuel subsidy removal with a set of policies that could help lower inflation and protect the most vulnerable citizens. Assistant Director of Fiscal Affairs Department, IMF, Era Dabler-Norris, said this at the ongoing World Bank IMF annual meeting in Marrakesh, Morocco. She said in the case of Nigeria, the revenue to GDP ratio is quite low relative to other emerging markets and developing countries, so efforts will need to be made to increase revenue collection in an efficient manner. The IMF official said subsidy removal was an important policy that will yield growth in the future, but added that this must be complemented with smart policies. The IMF Assistant Director said the country's budget must include policies on education, health, and other sectors aimed at protecting the poor. Nigeria's crude oil output rose to an all-time high of 1.35 million barrels per day in September 2023 as the country pumped its highest volume of crude oil so far since this year. Latest figures obtained from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission on Wednesday show that the country's output in September was about 14% higher than what it pumped in the preceding month of August 2023. Data from the Commission indicated that in September, Nigeria's crude oil production, excluding condensate, was precisely 1,346,562 barrels per day, which was 165,429 barrels per day increase when compared to 1,181,133 barrels per day produced in August this year. The crude oil production figures therefore show that Nigeria's oil production in September was the highest output so far recorded by the country this year. The federal government has been making concerted efforts to shore up the country's oil production, which is far below the about 1.8 million barrel per day quota approved by Nigeria by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder in Port Harcourt has destroyed a 3 million litre capacity legal refinery in the Gema local government area of Rivers State. The legal refinery, comprising 6 refining camps, is located within Cawthron, Channel 2 on the coast of Rivers State. The facility allegedly steals crude oil from a wellhead in the oil mining lease 18, operated by Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and Sahara Energy. The Navy said the operation was carried out by its Tactical Assault Squadron. The commander, NNS Pathfinder, Commodore Desmond Ibo, who conducted newsmen around the legal refinery on Wednesday, expressed annoyance that the suspected oil thieves were steadily sabotaging the nation's economy. Igbo said the miscreants were also destroying the environment, saying they had installed a 6-inch pipeline running over 2 kilometers from the wellhead to the 3 million litre capacity reservoir, which distributes crude to the 6 illegal refining camps. Nigerian oil firms have acquired about 26 oil mining licenses in the Niger Delta Basin area in the last decade. This was revealed by Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Engineer Simbi Wabote, on Wednesday at the 2023 Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association Energy and Labor Summit in Abuja. According to him, some of the divestments currently on the cards included those planned by Shell and ExxonMobil to sell oil and gas assets worth billions of dollars. He said this in addition to Eni's announcement in September of an agreement with O&O PLC for the sale of NAOC interest in 6 onshore blocks and Opai gas power plants in Delta State. Babote expressed or emphasized that divestment of oil assets are not necessarily negative, but rather present an avenue for the local capacities and capabilities that have been developed through local content implementation to be brought to bear in the upstream sector. Babote outlined several opportunities that would occur from divestment, such as the injection of new capital, the rejuvenation of divested assets, and an increase in crude oil production through the investment in technologies by the acquiring firms. And operators of modular refineries in Nigeria on Wednesday called on the federal government to remove many fees attached to locally refined automotive gas oil, properly called diesel, to help reduce the ballooning cost of the commodity. Diesel prices have been on the rise in the past few months, crippling economic activities in various sectors, particularly in the downstream oil industry, where the situation has stalled the operations of many filling stations. Oil marketers had repeatedly stated that the high cost of diesel made it difficult for them to move products from tank farms in the south to filling stations in the north without increasing the price of the transported product. To help reduce the cost of diesel, particularly the ones produced domestically by modular refineries, operators of the facilities on Wednesday said the federal government should remove the many fees being charged on the commodity. They made the call under the aegis of the Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria during a courtesy call on the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ainikin Lapobiri, at his office in Abuja. Speaking at the meeting with the Petroleum Minister, the president of the group, Momo Oyakwa, said as it's today, for every litre of AGO or DPK, that is kerosene, sold into the market, those fees accumulate into about Naira 80 kobo, which invariably increases the price of that product into the market. And now oil marketers have warned of the danger of returning fuel subsidies, saying it has the potential of throwing the downstream sector into a fresh round of uncertainties. Executive Secretary of the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, Clement Isang, gave the charge while speaking on the sideline of the just concluded energy conference held in Lagos. Isang said although it could be necessary for the government to intervene given the current economic challenges, however, the interventions must be time-bound. Speaking also, argued that high petrol prices are a global policy not peculiar to Nigeria. And according to him, the federal government should rather take full advantage of its vast oil and gas resources to develop the country, while it still matters as the world gravitates towards energy transition.